All right, we will get started. Thank you very much for coming to our youth basketball coaches meeting. It's obviously a Zoom meeting. We'd like to have you here in the office to talk to you more and be in person, but we're doing it this way. So I appreciate you coming, entering our meeting, and then also especially for volunteering to coach. So I'm Bobby. I'm the one hopefully recruited you. Thank you very much for coming in. The other staff here today you're going to meet with is Tiki and Josh. So I'm going to go over the youth protocols. If you have your agenda, we'll kind of follow that to the most part. And then we will, I'll start with protocols. Then Tiki will take over with the basketball timeline and then go to the team sideline. And then from there, we will go to the rules, which Josh will go over. And then we'll follow up with some practice information in the National Alliance for Youth Sports protocols and guidelines. If you have any questions at any point, just let us know. You can either do it through the chat. One of us will be, we can answer your question, or if you are wanting to ask a question, just unmute yourself and then we will answer it. Maybe if you can wait to ask your question till like after each section. So the protocol section, and then we can ask questions at that point. And then the basketball timeline and team sideline section, ask questions after that, rules after that. And then after the team sideline, not the team sideline, but the portion of the basketball protocols and National Alliance for Youth Sports part. So I thought I'd start off with a joke, kind of appropriate right now. Why can't basketball players go on vacation? They aren't allowed to travel. All right, youth basketball, COVID-19 protocols. So I'm going to go over some things just on Monday. Things changed up for us here in the state of Colorado and including Weld County, Larimer County, which we are in. So that could change. So it changed on Monday, could change again tomorrow. So we're going to go off based on what we have currently right now. So this is our youth basketball protocols. Our first sheet is our requirements and mandates. This is signs that you will see here at the town of Windsor in the recreation department when you come in. So we ask that anybody not participate if you have and enter the building if you have any fever, cough, or shortness of breath. We ask you obviously to do physical distancing. Don't share equipment, sanitize your equipment if we have it, wash your hands all the time, avoid touching your face, and the face mask requirement. So we will talk more about the face mask requirement in just a little bit, but those are requirements and mandates that you have seen for quite some time. We're continuing to follow those, and we follow the state of Colorado guidelines. All right, face coverings and masks. So you'll see this sign, that one on the top right there, going somewhere, and they'll have this big sign about reminder about your masks. So this is from the Colorado Public Health Order 20-36. This was just published on Monday. The Colorado Health Order has been around for a while, but they updated it on Monday. So all individuals in public spaces must wear a face covering unless 10 years or younger. So anybody 11 years or older will be required to wear a face covering or face mask. That includes when they are playing. There's some kind of pictures there with some basketball players that are wearing their face coverings. I read an article about officials reminding their kids to cover their nose. A lot of times, that's what they're saying now. You know, in our basketball programs, a lot of times we were saying, get back. Now they'll probably say, cover your mouth, cover your nose with your mask. So any kid in our league, so because of the 10-year-old thing, we go based off a grade. Any child over a fourth grade and older will be required to wear a mask in our league. All adults will be required to wear masks, so staff, volunteer coaches, spectators, if allowed. I'm going to get into spectators in a little bit later. And then again, all players 4th and 8th grade through 8th grade, even during play, will be required to wear masks. All right. Next one is the safety protocols. So we started this with the state of and the CDC guidelines about what happens if someone does have COVID-19. So our league responsibility is to retain records. So what we have is the rosters for each team. When you guys are practicing, you have your roster, who's there. We probably would ask you if you could, sometimes you'll be able, based on memory, but if you could let us know who's at your practice at that date. It might be, so a lot of times you'll have to take some kind of roster and attendance sheet for each time you have practice. It's really the parent responsibility to report about what's happening. So if their child has COVID-19, then they need to keep their child away from your practice. If they were around your practice or around game time and they had COVID-19 at that time, then the state will start sending letters. They'll probably call us and get the information about from who was on that team, and then they will talk about what's coming up next. Most of the time with COVID-19, just like in schools, CDC has changed the requirements a little bit. Not extended them, but they've gone actually a little bit less on time-wise. So there's some isolation and quarantine if you do have COVID-19, and then people who have been exposed also will have that. And then we're requiring athletes based on the state and CDC requirements. They do need to let us know that they do no longer have COVID-19 or finish their quarantine. So right now, the facility capacity and limits for us here at the town of Windsor, and we are currently, so this includes recreation, including gyms, recreation centers, and indoor pools. So our current capacity restrictions, we're under level orange. So we were under level red. If you remember, before Christmas, we were under level yellow, then we went to level red. We skipped level orange altogether. And so this is the first time we've been under level orange. So all this information is coming from that guideline that I talked about earlier. So right now we're under a 25% capacity of posted occupancy limit, and we can't exceed 50. So on the bottom there, you'll kind of see some pictures of our gym. So the gym is pretty large. We can't exceed 50. You can hold, I think if we had like a full layout of that gym, you can hold over 400 people in there, but can't exceed 50 people. We're only at 25%. So that's just if you have some drop in and play in that gym. So we can't like host a big wedding event or something in there right now. Organized recreational youth leagues are not authorized for indoor settings in this current level orange. We have made the decision to register kids to play basketball this year. We were under level yellow at the time. We did then obviously go to level red and then back to level orange. And so as of right now, what we are doing is we're participating under the 25% capacity. With practices, we're still okay. When we had drop-in gym earlier today, we had more than 10 kids on each side. So what's going to happen is the curtain will go down in our gym. We'll have you guys with 10 kids on each team, so you don't have more than 10 kids. You as a coach and your assistant coach will be that 12. As of right now, we're not allowing any spectators in the gym. So you guys will have an open practice and you'll fit inside the guidelines of our 25%. So we'll have the 12 on one side and 12 on the other. Arrival drop-off practice times. So usually have an hour for practice. Your practice is usually 60 minutes. You get in on the hour, like a 5 o'clock practice, you end at 6. So what we're asking you guys to do this year is start your practice on the hour or the half hour. I think we're mostly on the hour right now. On the hour, and then stop, get things squared away, kind of talk to your kids about at the 50 mark and at the 55 mark. Now you've already picked up your stuff and you're ready to get outside the gym because the next team is going to come in. And so we try not to have as many kids in the gym or in the hallways at the same time. So what you're going to do is arrive at the gym just 5 minutes prior to your practice and games, no real warm up before. Wait till everybody else is off and you guys go on. You have 55 minutes on the clock. So our field supervisor or gym supervisor will put on the clock in the gym, the 55 minutes, and then just pay as much attention to that as possible. All right, this kind of shows there's some information about our gym entrance. So we'll have the kids, they'll enter through the main entrance and they go directly back to the gym entrances. So the auxiliary gym and the main gym both have an entrance, and they'll have the kids just go right through there. The first day, parents can go with their kids and go check in, go greet you and meet you, and then they'll leave through the gym entrance, and then there's an exit. They can go either out the south door or they can go out the east door. And then they need to come back right when the practices are done. They can either meet in that hallway right there, or they can wait in the parking lot and pick their kids up there. So we had that 3-on-3 basketball camp, and we had some other camps where the parents came in and they kind of met in that area. where those treadmills are and waited for the kids. Some of them are watching through that window, but hopefully for only about 5 minutes, and then they go and get their kids. So hopefully we're set up where they come in the entrance, go directly to the gym, and when they exit, they go outside the gym. So the auxiliary gym exit will actually be through the main gym and then get out the hallway. All right, social distancing for practices and games. So you're hearing it all the time about your social distancing, minimum 6 feet away, stand at least 6 feet apart. This is the hard part. You see that little picture of you doing your little team huddle right there, and then have the team cheer. So don't do that anymore. Sorry. Have to do the team cheer from far away. No handshakes, high fives, fist bumps, elbow bumps. I read in the NCAA guidelines, I think that's kind of confusing because you're obviously playing some basketball, but then you can't do a handshake or a high five. Ask the kids to bring their own water bottle. Here at the rec center, you can fill up a water bottle, but all the actual water fountains are off. So they can't just go get a water from the fountain. They'd have to have their own water bottle. So ask them to bring their own. There's no access to the locker rooms at the rec center right now. And keep all your groups dedicated to you guys as coach. Don't mix the groups together. So if you're on one side, don't scrimmage with the other side right now, as we're just keeping you guys in your own groups, and then use the separate entrances and exits.
Bobby, we had a question in the chat.
Okay.
So we had a question. So can kids be released to go to the lot or
For the parking lot?
Yeah.
So the question is, so kids can be released to go to the parking lot? Yes. So after your 55 minutes is done, have your kids, as you guys as coaches, have them tell you that they're going to just go meet their parents in the parking lot. I think that's just as easy. And we had that happen with our 3v3 camps and our other camps that we had earlier this year. I think another question, can parents attend games? I'll get into that in just a little bit. Under spectator attendance is coming up. So organized recreational youth sports. So again, the Fourth Amendment Public Health Order 20-36, which just came out on Monday. So again, it's kind of just reiterating, we can operate under 25% of the posted occupancy limit, not to exceed the 50. We're under level orange. So as of right now, for these 2 weeks, we do not have spectators coming to our practices. In 2 weeks, we'll know a little bit more about games. I would not expect, don't get your hopes up really a lot for games. We're hoping that by the time we get to the games on the 23rd, CHASA, which is the Colorado High School Activity Association, is going to start games on the 25th. And so we're kind of waiting to see what they'll do for their gyms. But they are able to have games. More than likely, if you've watched some college basketball games, they are not allowing any spectators. High school games maybe will allow some spectators. Youth sports, I'm not sure yet. So as of right now, no spectators, but we're hoping that that'll be the case at some point. So that's an advantage for you guys as coaches. So I appreciate your coaching. That's one thing that you guys get, is because you are a coach, you get to watch your child play in the gym. If we go down to level yellow, or we're working on a variance. So Larimer County has a variance. Windsor is working on a variance, possibly with Greeley, on some things with the downtown area and restaurants. So that could also affect us. If we could go back down to level yellow, spectators will probably be allowed in the gym, and you can have 1 or 2 spectators. For you guys as coaches, so you guys as a head coach, and then you can have the 1 assistant coach in the gym right now. And I know before we've always asked parents need to help us. You go into groups, you have 4 stations. Unfortunately, we can't do that much right now. So spectators is a lot different than we've had in the past. Any person that's a 4th grader or older, or 10 years or 11 years old and older, will need to, again, wear a face covering. Pre-game, game, and post-game guidelines. So prior to the game, we ask, okay, first, before I get to the game thing. So as of right now, we are under level orange again. So we are going to plan on having games on the 23rd. That could be postponed based on what our restrictions are, if our variances come through, or how that works out. But our plan is to have games on the 23rd. We We're hoping that will happen. If not, we might have to push back a week or two. So we'll see. We'll keep you up to date on that. But when we do have games, we ask that you just arrive 5 minutes prior to the gym time. Go directly to the gym entrance, no warm-ups prior to the games. So you just go directly to your team bench, which will be those chairs. We're going to try to spread those chairs out a little bit more than we've had in the past. Those were always pretty close, so we'll spread those out. I don't know if we can get 6 feet, but we'll get a little bit. You also need to assign your kids some chairs. You won't have your pregame meeting between the coaches and officials like you've had in the past. You just talk to the officials just on the court. Spectators are, if we do have spectators, so you'll have 1 or 2 spectators allowed in the gym. So I can't imagine that we'll get more than that, especially with the little ones where we do the side courts, probably just 1 or 2 at the most. Bleachers, we won't bring those in. We have those tip and roll bleachers all the time. Those won't be there anymore. We'll have parents just either stand or bring their own chairs and stay as socially distanced as possible. After the game, just wave at the other guys and say, thanks, you guys did a great job. No post-game handshake. And then immediately after the game, just pick up all your stuff and then leave the facilities as the other teams are starting to come in. So you have a lot more to do than you had last year. You can't just kind of mingle with parents like you've had in the past. You'll communicate either through team sideline or any other way that you guys can communicate with your parents. So it's a little bit harder. Communication is going to be a lot more difficult. And then just getting in and out. We did change some rules up a little bit too, and Josh will get into that to try to make the games so a little bit shorter, and then you guys will be able to get out and the next teams will come in. All right, so these were the COVID-19 requirements and mandates. They could change. As of right now, this is what we're doing. We appreciate all the help. We've been through, this is our first indoor sports, really. We did the 3v3 camp, which is a little bit different. And we're not really calling this a league quite yet. We're just having practices as you guys with 10 kids and your 2 coaches, and then staying as far apart as possible, doing the game and trying to learn as much as possible. We also know that we had to drop it down to 1 practice. So you're going to have to put a lot of information in 55 minutes. And so it's not going to be optimal, but we are happy to play. So I think based on these 2 little girls, they're probably young enough, you'll be able to see their faces. If you have face coverings on them, they will be smiling. So they're hopefully will be as happy to be out there as we are to be able to provide the sport for you. All right, let's see if some of the questions we can answer. About any chance the games could be streamed live online if spectators are not allowed. We are currently working on trying to get that. We're working with our IT department. We're also working with a company that was trying to get that information so we could get some cameras and then stream live. So we are working on that. Hopefully we'll know more in 2 weeks before games start. Any other questions I'm missing? You've been answering the questions for him. All right, any questions? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question directly to me about any of the COVID-19 requirements and mandates.
I know that I've asked you a ton about masks, and so I'm going to ask, why is it that, you have college and NBA and all these people, you don't wear masks when you play, but yet 4th grade to 8th grade have to?
Yeah, so we're following state guidelines. And so the state guideline reads that anyone 10 and under does not have to wear a mask. So that's why we're following that rule.
I know, but even when you play a sport, because I got kids in wrestling and all other sports, and there's no mandates to wear it when they play.
Yeah, so Colorado High School Activities Association just on Monday came out with their guidelines for high school basketball, and high school basketball will have to wear a mask during play. So we're also following that. So I was kind of waiting for guidance from Colorado High School Activities Association, and they gave it to me on Monday. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, okay. It did.
Thanks. All right, any other questions on the protocols? All right, if you think of something, just put it in the chat, or you can ask it at the end. All right, thank you guys very much. I know this is hard, and you guys are going to have to do a lot more than you've normally done. Protocols, we make you do a lot just based on coaches stuff that we do for basketball, let alone the protocol portion of it too. So thank you very much. And again, thank you guys for volunteering to coach. We sure appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to the next portion of our meeting and our agenda. So the basketball schedule.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. I will do without the headset for now. All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt, Matt or Tiki, as many of you may know me. I've worked under Bobby for quite a while now. Great guy. I also have Josh with us. I'm gonna go over our timeline of the season and then also go into team sideline stuff. And I'm sorry, I usually take a poll when we are in person to see how many people have gone through the team sideline training, just to see how much I need to cover it. But since we are via Zoom and I know we do have some new coaches, I will probably go into quite a bit of detail. So if you have heard it before, it's probably going to be repetitive stuff, but it's always nice to brush up on every now and again. So we are here in the coaches meeting tonight. And then we do have our parent meeting coming up tomorrow night where we will go over everything that we're going over with you guys, just more to gear towards the parent side of things. We are hopeful that come this Friday, after we get rosters finalized, I think we did end up finding our last coach that we needed today. So we should have rosters up on team sideline by Friday. And I believe you guys, since we did basketball a little differently this year, you guys should know your practice times, but if you don't, I will show you all that on team sideline as well. Again, and then practices will start next week, whether you're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And as Bobby kind of touched on previously, we do hope to have games start January 23rd. Again, that is still not a guarantee, but as of right now, that is what we are planning on. And then the season will either run through all the way to February 27th, or if we have to push back a week or two, it'll just carry on for 6 weeks. So that way you guys get 6 weeks of games. Schedules for everything, again, will be on team sideline. And right now, all games and practices are here at the rec center. Bobby could probably touch on it a little more. I don't know if we do, but we're hopeful maybe to get some access to the schools for maybe having games there as well soon. But again, that's still a possibility, but not a guarantee at this point. So this is team sideline. This is just the desktop version. Unfortunately, I can't show you the mobile app. We do recommend that everyone who is participating in the program, everybody nowadays has either an iPad or a smartphone or something like that. The team sideline app is a lifesaver for everyone. It's definitely helped us out since we've gotten that into our program. We do ask everybody try and get that, and it is on both Apple and Android app stores as just Team Sideline, all one word. And now I believe there is actually a Team Sideline officials app. So it is actually the Team Sideline sites app. And then that should show you everything on an app style that I'll go over here on the desktop as well. And we do have pictures of the app that I can show you what that should look like too. So with that said, I'm going to exit out of this and we are going to go online real quick. So this is what your team sideline desktop feature should look like. This is once you sign in as a coach. Oh, it's not pulling up. Screen's okay. Can you see it now? Maybe. Can you see it now?
What are we seeing?
New share. Let's try it again here. What about now? No?
There we go. There we go.
Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, this is what the desktop feature will look like. If you want to use the desktop, that's great. Again, just to touch back, really do encourage you to check the app, because you can go on the app right before practice and see if something's changed, or if you as coaches want to make an announcement right before practice. Things hopefully shouldn't change, since right now we just have the rec center, but normally during a normal season, things do change and we do have to cancel practice or move practices around. So definitely get the app. But here is the team homes page. If you as a coach want to make an announcement, anything that you announce should show up on the homepage. And then right now, obviously, we don't have game schedules on there, but once we do have game schedules up, they should show up on the team home site right there. As you can see here to your right, there is a roster of your team. This is a soccer roster, so it's a little bigger than what your basketball roster will look like. But if you click on any of them, it should pull up information on each of them if you want to get in contact with a specific person about the kiddo, you want to double check that we have everything correct on our side. If you don't mind looking, if you click on yourself and just make sure that all your info is there correct, that way we have that for the team to see. The next tab over, it goes into a little more detail on the roster. This is where you can find all the information on any of the players on your team, whether that's email or phone number, unless the person has chose to hide their email or phone number, which can happen. So that may be why you don't see it, but majority of the people do have that available for you to communicate with them. The events tab, this tab will have all the practices that you will have up on there. And then also, once again, games get put in, they should show up here as well. If you or your team, someone on your team doesn't know where the rec center is, you can click on the location or have them click and they can get directions to where the rec center is. If you click the event, it should show you again what day you're practicing, time, location, and again there's another way to see the location if you click that website there. There is also an attendance poll. I know some coaches have done it in the past. We don't require it, but coaches have certainly found if they're trying to schedule a practice, they do a poll to see how many people are there. That way you can kind of get an idea of who's coming, who won't be there, and then schedule your practice around that. It's been very beneficial to the coaches that have used it. If you don't want to use it, you certainly don't have to, but that is something that you can do as well on Team Sideline. This, again, is just another way. This is where the attendance is. So you can take attendance, you can send out an announcement or an email or a quick text to your team through the Team Sideline, just asking, can everybody answer the question if they're going to be at practice or not? And that should show up there. Files, you shouldn't have to worry about. Stats, we don't keep stats. Payments, you shouldn't have to worry about. And then also, this is just another place where you can go and add announcements. And again, that will show up once you add that announcement onto the team home page. For sending communication, if you click this yellow icon up here to send communication, it should pull up the option to either email or text your team or us or just someone specifically. Select the team that you would like to send it to. Depending on if you're coaching multiple teams, you will have multiple teams there, but if you are just coaching one, there should just end up only being one there. If you're not seeing anything, certainly let us know and we will make sure that gets fixed. But you can, again, send it to the entire team, staff, or specific person. Then you can put a subject in here, send out an email that way. We do ask, if you are going to send texts, make sure that your entire Team Sideline's been working on it, but I still don't think they're quite done, where I think you have to enable the capability of receiving a text from Team Sideline. So if you want to do that, you might have to reach out to the parents first through email and just let them know to go into their settings and turn on the enable text, and then that way they can receive a text. If they're struggling with that, certainly have them reach out to one of us and we can go in and set it for them that way. And then that way you can communicate through your text with your team if that is easier for you. And I believe that is pretty much the gist of the desktop version. So again, let me just show you how to get into it. So Team Sideline, I'll just go back to the PowerPoint real quick and I'll show you. Josh, can you see that? Got it, Bobby, just to make sure.
Signed out.
No, can you see this? No, probably not. Okay, here we go.
There we go.
So this is the icon where you will sign in. I forgot to mention that. That's at the top of the web page, and it is Windsor or www.teamsideline.com/Windsor to access that. Again, just to reiterate, please encourage them to download the mobile app. It'll make your life a lot easier. It'll make their lives a lot easier as well. These are some of the pictures for the mobile app. This is just a different way. Again, since instead of desktop, the mobile app, if you click the team, you can then come in here, go through announcements, see your roster, see any events. And this is what your roster should look like here on the right side. Again, if you click on any of them, that should pull up their information if you wanted to get someone individually or talk to someone individually. This calendar piece should pull up on your upcoming events tab. So right as you open the app, after you click the team, this should be, I believe, the icon that you see or the picture that you see first. And then if you wanted to change, you would just select this 3-bar icon here at the left and either go from account, calendar, teams, things like that. And again, this is just another picture of what the team and announcements looks like. So with that, I know I kind of went through it somewhat quickly and I can't see the chat, so I didn't know if there was any questions or not. Bobby's got it. Cool. I guess
If we can't coach a practice game, we're able to ask someone else. That just popped up.
for coaching purposes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we do encourage, if you're going to have to miss a game, at the beginning of the season, I would recommend reaching out to the entire team, just asking if anybody would be willing to help when you were gone. And then if they are, please have them reach out to us. We do have everybody go through a background check and a concussion training just so they're all cleared to go. And you guys will all have to do that. Or if you haven't yet, we will need you to do that. I think Bobby sent it out to quite a few of you. So yeah, just make sure if they are helping for one weekend, just have them call us and we'll get that information to them. That way they can cover you. Cool. I guess if nobody has any other questions over Team Sideline stuff, I will go ahead and pass it along to Josh, and he will go over the rules portion.
All right. So if you guys haven't met me, I'm Josh Sandin. I've been here as a recreation coordinator for the last year and a half, working with Tiki and Bobby. So, I mean, we're really excited to have basketball going on this season. So I'm going to cover the rules. We have changed a few of the rules that, like Bobby had said, to get the games started faster and get everyone in and out of the building a little bit quicker. So I'll cover those. It's frozen. All right, so we do follow the National Federation High School rules, and these are just the general rules about an entire program. And then for each age group, I'll go into about different modifications that we've made, especially this year since we're combining both kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. We have a few different things going on, but for this year we normally have four quarters, but we are going to do two 20-minute halves, and it's going to be a running clock. The only reason the clock will stop will be for timeouts, free throws, and injuries. I'll go a little bit more into depth per age group because it does vary a little bit. And then the clock will stop the last 2 minutes of the second half if there's a 10-point differential or less. If it would go up to 11 points, the clock would keep running. And then if the team would get it down to 9, the clock would stop, but that would have to be 10 points or less. And then another overrule is there is no full court press allowed. You have to drop back to the volleyball line. I have a diagram that'll show you on the court where they have to drop back for defense. And then again, press is allowed in the last 2 minutes for certain age groups if it's a with 10 points game. And then for every age group, you have to play man-to-man defense except 6th through 8th grade. And I'll go into some diagrams showing a little bit just how we can tell what teams are playing. And then we do have a 5-second lane violation. We'll have a NCSO, a referee training next week. We'll reiterate this. Sometimes, it doesn't get called as often as we would like, but we do have the lane violation. And then another topic is no 3-pointers for 2nd through 5th grade. And then we do use a youth size basketball and a 28.5 basketball. And for this year, we will have 1 timeout for the first half and then 2 timeouts for the second half. You can't carry over, if you save your timeout for the first half, you can carry that over to the second half and then have 3. And then if it would go into overtime, you can't carry those over. You'll get 1 additional timeout for overtime, but this is a good way just to use them for substitutions, to give them a water break. So we just recommend using those. And then for the bonus, once the team does get 6 fouls for their 7th foul for grades 4 through 8, then they will be going to the free throw line. All right, so for kindergarten through 1st grade, we will be playing here, obviously, for all grades, and they'll be playing on an 8-foot rim. And then we'll be putting the curtain down, and then they'll be, each gym will be split into 2 for those games. It will be 2 20-minute halves. We are not going to be keeping score. We'll have the clock running up there, just have the clock up there, and then for the horn at halftime. And then again for first or K through 1st, no full court press. The lane violation will not be enforced. If you guys have watched kindergarten through 1st grade basketball, it's kind of just following where the ball goes, everyone goes. So it kind of can just be a huddle. So we do not enforce that. And then for substitutions, normally we would have at each quarter, at the 4-minute mark, we would have the buzzer would horn, and then it would be a substitution. But we are going to do at the 5-minute, 10-minute, and 15-minute mark. We are going to have the referee just blow their whistle, and it'll be kind of like a line change. The clock won't stop. So if you want to we recommend getting your players that are going to go in next, get them ready. And then the referee will blow their whistle, and it'll be kind of like hockey, just get in and out. And that'll be at the 5, 10, and 15 for the first and second half. And then for 2nd and 3rd grade, combining these, we have decided to have both 2nd and 3rd grade play at the 9-foot rims. I know normally 2nd grade plays at 9 and 3rd plays at 10, but with the different age or kiddos playing, we've just decided to have them go play at the 9-foot rim. And then it is 2 20-minute halves again. And then for overtime, since I should have mentioned this at the beginning. For kindergarten through 3rd grade, we're not going to be keeping score this season, so no overtime for that. And then we've also changed for 2nd and 3rd grade, so no free throws will be awarded. That is just trying to keep the game rolling. And then a foul will just be, the ball will be given to the non-offending team on the baseline or side out, depending on where the foul happened. And then for double teaming, there is no double teaming outside the paint. I'll go into a diagram, show you guys a little bit more about that. And then for 4th and 5th grade, we're keeping it with 2 20-minute halves for this. So 4th through 8th grade, we are going to stop the clock on fouls, injuries, and timeouts. And there will be free throws, and the score will be kept. So for overtime, for 4th through 5th grade, it's sudden victory. So we'll put the clock to 5 minutes running, and it'll just be the first team to score a basket, and then that team will win. We don't keep track of records or anything like that on team side or anything like that. So, but that's just a good way to have it be sudden victory. And then, but if no one scores after the 5 minutes, then it will end in a tie. We won't just keep adding time for them to score one basket. And then for free throws, so for 4th grade, they'll shoot from the 10-foot mark, and then from 5th grade, they'll shoot from the regulation 15 feet away from the hoop, except for our combined 4th and 5th grade girls. We're just going to move them all to the 10-foot mark for free throws. And then again, no double teaming outside of the paint, which I'll go and do in a second. And then for 6th through 8th grade, we are keeping with the 20-minute halves, sudden victory, the regulation, free throw line. And so double teaming is allowed outside the paint anytime for 6th through 8th grade. And I just wanted to cover a few. What's the next slide? Oh, my lopsided. So does anyone have any questions about the rules? I know I kind of went over those a little fast. We have a quick rules link and a full, pull it up? Tiki is going to pull it up on Team Sideline to where to go to find these and print these out. Okay, they are updated, and you'll be able to find those, hopefully. Maybe.
Sorry, just to make sure, I know in the past, the final 2 minutes, threes do count. Are we not doing that this year?
Yep, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
I can. Okay, so on the homepage on Team Sideline, just if you click this rules button right here, it'll bring you, and if you scroll down to youth sports, it will have our winter basketball, our quick rules, our league rules, and then the parent packet, which will all be updated and ready to go for the season, which you can find all these modifications and rules and everything. Oh, and we're also going to, on this link right here, we're going to upload this video for you guys if you want to come back to refer to that at any point during the season. All right, so for lopsided games, some strategies. So we ask for no score is going to be kept for kindergarten through 3rd grade, but for 4th grade through 8th grade, if it is just really lopsided, we just ask the coaches to slow down the offense, have no fast breaks, have them pass 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left before shooting. And then if the ball is outside the paint, don't guard the ball, just in order to kind of slow the game down and give the other team an opportunity to get the ball and score on their end. And we just want everything to be as fair as possible. This is recreation basketball. We want them to be able to learn, develop their skills without feeling like, oh man, fundamentals is the key. All right, so this diagram right here, so this line right here shows the volleyball court line. So this is the line that the defenders on a transition will have to fall back to. So right here, on a rebound, on a pass in after a scored basket, the defenders will have to fall back behind this line and wait until the offense crosses half court, and they'll have to wait 5 seconds. Once the offense has established themselves for 5 seconds, then the defender can cross that volleyball line and go up and guard them. But if the reason it's 5 seconds is so the offensive player just doesn't sit there right across half court and just stand there for a whole minute. So after 5 seconds, then they can cross that and go guard them. And then for this one looks, it could be a zone, it could be man-to-man. You don't have to be, right next to the person you're guarding the whole time. You can have some space. But the center defender right here, if the offender or the offensive guy would go out to the 3-point line and that defender stays in the paint, then we know that it's a zone. So we'd want him to follow him out to the 3-point line. They can give space while defending, but we don't want them just to be camping out in a certain area and then go and guard that someone that comes into their area or their zone. So that's why we want, so and this could be a 2-1-2 zone for 6th through 8th grade, but that's the only age groups that we're allowing to play zone. And there's a lot of other zone offenses that 6th or 8th grade coaches, if you guys want any material on defenses like that, we can get you that. And then, so outside of the paint, this is illegal. You can't go corner them out in the corner or anywhere outside the paint. But as long as, but we don't call it for kindergarten through 1st grade because usually the referee should talking to them about, spreading out and all of that. But this is illegal other than 6th through 8th grade. And then this is legal. So once the ball is passed into the paint, 2 defenders can double team as long as they are inside the paint. That is completely fine. And then the next one. So we ask you not to draw up plays where you tell your players to go all standing in the corner because they'll probably all follow, and then there'll be a big group in the, right in the corner, and then they can just drive to the hoop. So we do not allow this. We want you guys to practice the fundamentals, the basics, have an offense. It could be just, a very basic offense, but we want them to be able to learn that without saying, hey, you guys should, I'd run to the corner, then someone else takes it to the hoop. So we don't want that going on. And then, does anybody have any questions about the rules or anything that I covered with the halves or anything like that? Oh, so I mentioned that? So for coacher shirts, we'll be getting those at practice. So we'll have a practice supervisor and we'll get those out to them where you can pick them up at your first practice or whenever you're available. Yeah, we have the, if you already have one, it'll be the same one. We're working on getting a new color, but right now you'll get the same one you have. All right, so now I'm gonna pass it over to Bobby.
Yeah.
You? There we go.
I'm here to announce my retirement from sports. Baseball, basketball, all of them. I feel like it's time. The pressure that it takes to play at my age is just too much. So I'm done with the endless advice from parents to keep my head up, to keep my head down, to keep my head in the game. I know you think you helped. I'm walking away from the coaches that left me on the bench every time the game was on the line. I'm sure they'll agree I'm leaving at the peak of my career. I'll miss my friends and the fun we had when we were young. I said I'd play this game as long as I was having fun. And now, it's time to call it quits. Any questions?
Who do you think can fix these issues?
Parents, leagues, coaches, everyone.
What are you going to do with all your free time?
Whatever's fun. Thank you.
So,
All right, that was a video that we played earlier, I think last season, but I think it was by ESPN, and then they were playing it on a lot of Major League Baseball games during some PSAs. So just want to make sure that you guys as coaches, a lot of times when kids are not having fun, sometimes it's just because of the practice. You have very few time with the kids for your practice, so make it as fun as possible to make it as fun for them. This is a rough year, so we're hoping that having the kids be able to play sports, it'll make it a little bit easier for the kids too, and have a lot more fun, and they can look forward to something, at least for that day and then their game day, hopefully. So this is the top 12 reasons kids play sports. You'll see they want to have fun. That's the reason they play. Winning is way low on the survey, 8 for the boys, and goes down all the way to 12 for the girls. So there's a lot of things, the reasons they want to play, and majority of it is because they want to have fun, which gets me to the point where why wasn't Cinderella very good at basketball? Because she always ran away from the ball. All right. So let's go to the coach's influence. The next video, TQ. Oh, I guess, yeah, coach's influence.
The most important thing that kids and people want from us is that we care about them as a person, and to teach them that you do not have your self-worth connected to your skill level in something. They're two separate issues. You're a beautiful human being, you're fantastic, and that's it. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're ranked, number 250,000 in the world or number 1. That does not matter.
Yes, there are expectations. Yes, there are great demands. But yes, we realize you're a human being.
A lot of times what they need is love and just a positive reinforcement.
This is something we all are in together as a family.
Be positive about what they're doing out there. They will listen.
I can get far more out of my players if I'm doing it with a smile on my face, with energy in my voice. I'm being clear on what I want from them, and I'm letting them know that I believe in them.
Being positive on a daily basis, you have a choice. You make a choice of, the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. You make a choice of bringing negative or positive to a meeting, to a relationship, to a basketball court, or to you.
PCA is one of the greatest organizations that I've ever been affiliated with.
I think having fun creates good team chemistry.
I get a better response, better effort.
We're going to be in their corner. We're going to be supportive.
Because I am demonstrating through my positivity, my joy, my excitement, and I believe in them.
It is crucial for coaches to send that message.
Every moment is a teaching moment.
You can help a child or a person believe in themselves. It's everything.
So coaches have a big part of what we need to do for you guys. You guys are big role models, and they'll remember you for a long time. I'm guessing some of you guys remember some of your good coaches. You probably also remember some of your bad coaches. If you can emulate your good coaches, that would be better. I know when I coached one time that I was emulating one of my coaches I didn't like very well, and I didn't understand why I was doing that. So just remember the things that you liked best, emulate those coaches that you were role models for you. So we want you to be positive players. Remember, like football, you guys get to put their name on their helmet. In basketball, it's kind of frowned upon to put a Sharpie on the foreheads of each kid. So try to remember the names of your kids. As soon as they walk in, you can say, "Hey, Johnny, so glad to see you. Can't wait to have practice today." And so they'll remember you, and they can't wait to come to practice. This year, we only get the one practice, so make it as good as possible. You have to also remember each kid is at different skill levels, so you have to work on some different things for them. You're also having to remember how to separate them a little bit. So your drills are a little bit separated more than they have been in the past. So you have to kind of focus on that also. We'd like you to teach fundamentals, not win at all costs. The kids that have good fundamentals, they actually seem to win a lot more. Spread your team out. You might have a really tall kid that's in 4th grade, but by the time he gets to middle school, he's one of the shorter kids. So they need to learn all different kind of positions. Don't just pigeonhole them in one or the other. So focus. If I've noticed that some kids or coaches are focused on 1 or 2 skilled players, they don't score very often. Seen that little pick and roll. Kid drives down the court, pass it to another kid, but then that kid's supposed to pass it right back to him so he can get a layup. Those teams don't score very much. So work on the fundamentals if you could, and not win at all costs. My staff, we're totally different athletic directors at the high school or the college level. If you guys have 6 games and you go all 3-3, that's perfect. If you go 6-0, it probably means we didn't do something very well, something we weren't helping you with for understanding the game of basketball for a recreation league. Is that next one? All right, so working with your parents. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult than you had in the past. Before, you could get them in the gym and you could all sit around or talk with them at the first day of practice. So you might have to do that more communicating on with Team Sideline. So introduce your assistant coaches. Your assistant coaches, if they're an actual assistant coach, they do need to be screened and have their concussion training. If not, they're just a parent. Explain your coaching philosophy and review your practice and game expectations. So it could be that you need to send out your lesson plan like the teacher would have about each practice. This is what we're going to work on because we only have 55 minutes. We need to do it and get it done and quickly. And we only have 1 practice compared to the 2 practices we've had in the past. And by the time we get game time, we know what we're going to have to work on for the next week. So really plan that out. Teachers have their lesson plans like I talked about. Coaches also have their lesson plans. If they're ready to go and you're going for your practice, then you know this is what we're going to be working on. This is what we need to work on later. This is what we've improved on. Maybe work for your goals early on in the season after you see what your kids are, kind of their potential and what their skill levels are. And to know and understand the players' and parents' expectations for the season. So just make sure that you understand with the parents. If they have an issue with something that you're doing, have them come up to you, not before, during, or after practice. Just have them make an appointment with you or call you, and then you can talk to them a little bit more about that. We are a recreation league, but we only play the good players. All the other ones can just sit the bench. So that's not necessarily the case. We do. Every kid gets to play. It's a little bit harder now. You only have the 1 bench player or bench coach to help you out, but try to do as much as equal playing time. Just remember that. So if there's a really good kid, how many people know that he's playing all the time? So everybody sees him, but that really bad kid who's just on the bench all the time, nobody really knows he's not playing except for his parent. With the spectator thing, with parents possibly not even be able to make it to their gym, they won't even notice, but you need to really make sure that you're cognizant of getting every kid in. All right, this is a little bit communication with a parent and their coach. That's a communication between a parent and a coach. So it's kind of just going over that you really need to think about what you say to a parent before you speak. So with the spectator issue, you might not have quite as many issues. I think one time we were talking about, we might be able to be able with spectators, and some people in my office said, well, you probably should be happy about that because you'll have some issues that you probably won't have issues that you might have had before when you have parents. So there has been some leagues that have had no spectator Saturdays. They've tried it because they've had so many issues. And so that could be something that be okay with you for coaches too. But we'll try our best to get, again, spectators in. So this next slide is the organization of practice topics. Really, the key to successful practice is that you have it planned out before you get to the gym. If you are going to the gym and you don't know really what's going to happen today, and then you decide just to scrimmage in the second half of the practice, you really will not get much done. The team won't be very good and they won't learn very much. So be aware of that. You really need to get things going. I know I had one coach that said, all I think about is practice at work. I'm supposed to be working and I just think about my practice because I'm so excited to get there. So the key to successful practice is get every child involved. There's really no idle time. Again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult with you and just one assistant coach, but do as best as you can. Practice specifics, make sure that the team knows where you're at and what time you're at. Team Sideline has all that information on there. They need to find it. Without having schools, everybody's at the rec center, so that's a little bit easier. Let parents know they need to come 5 minutes prior to, and they need to make sure they pick their kids up right on time. Then talk about with the kids what your skill is to cover. When you are with the kids, don't be huddled up together anymore. Make sure that they're about 6 feet away from each other and you can talk as loud as you can in those gyms. In the past, we've had 4 practices sometimes in the rec center gym at a time. So this year you only have the one side court, so one practice on one side. So it'll be a little bit easier before, and then we don't have as many in the gym because there's not any spectators in there too. So you should be able to cover everything with your kids. Break down your practice, set your goals, team information, keep practices moving. So keep moving as much as possible. Let them have water breaks, but they'll need to bring their water bottles into their gym. Make sure that they spread out 6 feet. So each water bottle is 6 feet apart. They only have their one water bottle and they don't share with the other team or other players. All right. How to conduct your practice. This is just from the National Alliance for Youth Sports, which we're part of. So you have the team meeting, your warm up, your individual drills, water breaks, and then the brief review. So a lot of times you talk about, hey, this is what we did really well at practice today. This is what we need to work on, or after a game, then you get to your next practice, say, this is what we really did well at our game this past week. This is what we need to work on. And end in a positive note, if you can, end in a positive note for every single kid. Hey, Johnny, you did a really good job of keeping your head up when you're dribbling today. That's a lot better than last week. So maybe be real specific on what you're doing. But if you could say something positive about each player, they will leave the gym thinking about that positive thing that you said. Each coach is a little bit different. Each style is a little bit different. You'll notice coaches can go from the one training, and they are totally different when they get onto the court. So we ask that you be as positive as possible. Some coaches, you guys like to talk loudly. Some people would say that's yelling. So just be aware. And then each player is a little bit different. Some can be yelled at or talk loud too, and some cannot. So we want to get each player to enjoy the game of basketball. So just be aware of how you're speaking to the players and how you get them involved in practices too. Some players, you will do a drill. They will not understand that drill at all. They'll need to learn it from another kid. So, and then try to stay away from those phrases. Come on, it's easy. Someone told me geometry is easy. Even if math is easy, they are wrong. For me, it's not. Some other people, it's really a lot easier. So for them, that particular skill might not be easy. So get the skill, work on it, and then end in a positive note. So kind of the theme about it is always ending in the positive note. This is a little bit of an example, if you haven't seen it before, just about keeping it simple. These guys are very positive coaches, but they have way too much information for the kids.
Timeout. Bring it in. Come on. Hey, let's go. Hey, we're good. All right, don't even worry about the score. Okay? Now we're going to aim down the ball on the baseline under our basket.
We've done it a million times.
We're setting up box 42. All right, to get the ball in. Box 42. You know the play. Owen, you're the inbounder.
Go.
Okay.
Kyle,
You
Andy,
got
you
this.
guys on the blocks, all right?
Where's the block?
You know what, buddy? Let the block fight you.
Fine, you're gonna find it. It's out there. All right, Connor, Mike, I need you guys on the elbows.
Find those bows, guys. Find
it.
those.
Yes.
There you go.
Those are on your body. Now, what's on the court? Those elbows, right? Think about that. Okay, so the play starts when Owen slaps
the play
the
does
ball.
not start until Owen does what?
Slaps the ball.
Here we go.
We need that kind of
Look
a
alive.
Okay, so when Owen slaps the ball, Kyle, you're on the closest block. You're popping to the corner as a decoy, right? Glaze it over.
You're not getting
Beautiful. He's doing it right now.
Nice.
Good. Connor, pay attention. Eyes right here, buddy.
Here we go.
You're gonna float
Focus up.
towards the top. Look at this. It's like you're in space. I'm an
Plan B.
astronaut.
I'm plan B.
Slowly, just kind of
I'm
a slow drift.
I'm staying ready.
Good.
I got the
You're ready
triple
for
threat.
the ball because
Am I gonna
Owen might
pass
throw
it?
you a baseball pass.
Am I gonna
so you gotta
shoot
be ready
it?
for that, okay?
Am I gonna dribble?
Good. We got the space
I don't
reference,
know.
Coach Eddie. We're good. Andy, you're on the opposite block. We're setting a weak side screen
Screen,
for
baby.
Mike. Get those
Deep
proud
roots,
shoulders,
deep roots.
deep roots. Look at this.
Maybe a little this.
See what Coach?
Maybe a little.
That might be a foul, but
Here we
don't do
go.
that.
Here
Keep it
we
subtle.
go.
All right,
Here we go.
You're gonna do a tough V cut. Okay, might be a Z cut, might be a Y cut. Make a strong cut. All right, go right to the basket.
Footwork.
For an easy bucket.
Sneaker squeak.
Right?
Sneaker squeak. High off that glass.
Boom.
That's deuce, baby. Deuce. Here we go,
Let's go.
guys. Bring it in. This
Bring
is
it
basic
in.
stuff.
We got
Basic.
it.
Hard work on three. 1, 2, 3. Hard work. All right. Here we go, guys. Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
This.
All right.
They're like sponges.
Little sponge. Way to keep it simple, sir.
You gotta
Way to
keep
keep
it simple.
Box 42.
Great job,
Box
Box
42.
All right. For these kids, if I got surveys back from the parents, they'd probably say, hey, our coaches are great. They're a lot of fun and they're nice. But then they'll probably also say, we really didn't learn a whole lot. So just be aware of how much you say. Just think of you only have so much time when they're talking about getting under the block and maybe blocking out and doing some other things. You have so much information to give the kids in a short period of time. It's very hard. So you might think about all the things that you are going to practice with, all the things you want to get done in your practices, and you might have to narrow it down. By the time for my 6 weeks, so 8 total weeks of basketball, this is what I really want to work on and get these kids fundamentally sound as much as I can, just based on the one practice and one game a week. There's also some additional coaching resources, Basketball for Coaches, Positive Coaching Alliance, National Alliance for Youth Sports, and Change the Game Project. If you want to get online, basketball is one of the better ones because there's so much information out there. But if you also want us to get you more information about some of these, we can send those links. For player equipment, so it's a little bit different this year than we had in the past because of Nuggets Skills Challenge. So the Denver Nuggets, really, we didn't have, not Nuggets Skills Challenge, but the Junior Nuggets program. So this year we're going to go with our maroon reversible jerseys like we've had in the past. Before we did Junior Nuggets, and some kids already have those from other sports like probably soccer, volleyball, baseball. So they can use those particular jerseys. They can wear short sweats, tennis shoes, and just no jewelry. Those jerseys can be picked up at the rec center for an additional cost. This is a cartoon about there are some kids in your program that will never get the ball unless it comes off the rim and hits them in the head. Just that they're just not very good. And so there are some rules that we had in there. Josh had talked about the little free area. It could be that you have that kid dribble the ball for a while, or you set up a play that's specifically for that kid to get the ball. So there's just some that just aren't very good, but you'll need to make sure that get them involved somehow. I remember one team, all they did for the full game was try to get that kid to score. And so they got him the ball as much as possible. They weren't worried about their scoring as much as they were about getting the one player the ball. So make sure recreation sports, again, equality of play. We let all the kids play. We want to make sure that they have fun. If they have fun, they'll continue to come back. We want to make sure that you guys have fun so you can continue to come back. And then we encourage good sportsmanship. We don't have in here about the snacks. Those are things a little bit about COVID-19, but you can't hand out snacks. They just can't be like, they have to be prepackaged. And then you leave them in a bowl and the kids pick them up themselves and then leave as soon as possible for afterwards. But that's part of good sportsmanship. Say hi, thanks you guys, you did a great job, get your snacks, and then leave outside the gym. All right, next one is we're going to ask you some questions about the scheduling. So Tiki kind of alluded to it. We have asked to see if we can at least get in gyms in schools on Saturdays. Right now we cannot. And so we're hoping that, so based on that, and I would just plan on, we're only going to be able to play at the rec center. So like all practices right now are at the rec center. All games will also be at the rec center. So this is scenario 3. We're working on all kinds of different scenarios to see how it could make it work, how many teams we could actually have to play basketball this year. I think that we ended up with 68 teams playing basketball. So, which is less than we've had in the past, but we're making it work that way. So we have 68 teams, which means that'll be about 37 games or so. And in order to do that, we need to figure out how to play on both Fridays and Saturdays. So what we're asking you guys, especially the older group, girls 6th through 8th grade and boys 6th through 8th grade, you can kind of see that in scenario number 3 here, that all the games for boys and girls 6th through 8th would be on Friday nights. We'd start at 5 o'clock. So we'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock games. That would get all the 6th through 8th graders done. And then we just have all the younger kids at the end. So that is our plan, unless really there's someone that cannot do it. And I've talked to several 6th through 8th grade coaches, both boys and girls, and they were okay with that. So please let me know if you're not. We can try to make it work. But if you guys can play on Friday nights, then we'll do that. There's also, if we can get open to some basketball gyms in the schools, and we can change things up, but that is our plan right now. Again, the other plan is that we're going to play starting on the 23rd of January. That is hopeful. Hopefully that will happen. If not, we'll continue to practice them and make our games and maybe extend the season or figure out that we might have to adjust our season based on that. So then you'll see on here. So when we have girls and boys kindergarten through 3rd grade, we'll be playing on the side courts. So you'll have 2 games going on in the auxiliary gym and 2 games going on in the main gym. And then we'll switch over to main courts, full courts in the auxiliary gym and main court for girls and boys 4th through 5th grade. And then again, obviously 6th or 8th grade will also be in full court. If we went to the next slide, this is would be week number 2 if we don't do just 6th through 8th grade on Friday nights. Then we'd have to either play kindergarten or 1st graders sometimes on Friday nights. I don't know if that's optimum. It probably isn't. And then 5th graders, there'd be some 5th grade, or if we had to do some 2nd grade at 8 o'clock at night, there's that one empty spot at 8 o'clock, but really I'd have to fill that with some team based on how many teams we have, which also means we won't get done until 7 o'clock on Saturday. So the scenario that we had, the first one, seems a little bit better. If you are not able to do Friday nights for a 6th or 8th grade, please let me know. But we'd really like you to be able to play on Friday nights for 6th through 8th grade.
For the Saturdays, are we switching back and forth?
Yeah, so Saturdays, you'll see this on here. If you go back to that other slide, sometimes we'll have the younger kids play in the mornings, and then the older kids play in the afternoon, and then we'll switch it up the next week. The older kids would play in the morning, and the afternoon would be the younger kids. So each week would be switched up just a little bit. Thanks for mentioning. And then this just as a coach will impact more young people in a year than an average person does in a lifetime. Think of being a role model. You're a role model for your own child, but now you have 10 other kids or 9 other kids that are all also part of your team, and they're really looking up to you being a role model for them too. So you guys are an important piece of the puzzle for our coaching and our program, and so we sure appreciate it. I know you're waiting for your check in the mail. That's not going to be coming. So volunteering, it's hard. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I sure appreciate it. We got all those coaches that have helped us. Some of you guys are doubling up on some things, and I know you have a lot of other kids. I know some of you guys have multiple kids and you're trying to shuffle things around. So I really do appreciate it. We have worked all kind of the Christmas break, and I've been hounding you for if you want to practice or if you want to coach. And so I appreciate all your efforts, and it's just coming around. So if you have any questions or anything, you can reach out to any of us and we can help you out. We used to give you a parent packet or a coach's pack when you got into here. So we will give those out, and we'll probably put them all on Team Sideline, and so you can get access to some of those drills and skills. Okay.
I just wanted to add one thing, just to touch on the whole check in the mail thing. You are, as a coach,
Tiki, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Say something? Can you hear me now? All right. Well, thought I was unmuted, but apologize. I was just gonna add to what Bobby said about the whole check in the mail. For those of you that don't know, I know some of you probably do, but we do try to help you guys out somewhat, and we do give you guys coaching vouchers at the end of the year. So we will then put that in an Excel file, and then if you guys wanted to register your son or daughter for a future sports registration through the town of Windsor, the front desk should have access to that, and just ask them, and then they can go on and look at what you have on file. So I believe this year for basketball, the fee was $65 for residents and $75 for non-residents. So that'll be the coaching voucher at the end of the season for helping us out and creating a great program. So just wanted to add that in to help incentivize you guys to possibly maybe in the future coach basketball or any other sport we have to in the town of Windsor.
All right. Any other questions for us? So to end up, you guys will get your rosters for sure. They'll be out on Team Sideline, so you'll be able to access those on Friday. And parents, it's a little bit easier for them this year because they know exactly when their practice is because they registered for their particular practice. And so they'll know that starts, and then we'll have a parent meeting tomorrow. So we'll go over some more information about that too. We're really needing help from the parents to be part of our program to help you guys out as coaches too, and us as program administrators. So why did the fish not like to play basketball? He's afraid of the net. All right, that was the last one. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you coming. We were able to get you done a little about 10 minutes before.
Do you have the use of Windsor jerseys, or can we purchase our own?
Yeah, so you'll need to purchase your own jerseys this year. If you already have a jersey from another sport, just use that one. Otherwise, you'll need to purchase a new one. The Junior Nuggets program was a lot of fun. We worked that out, but with the Nuggets and the NBA being in the way they were, it was impossible for us to do the Junior Nuggets program this year. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, that's a good question. Should we attend the parent meeting tomorrow night? You do not have to. A lot of this information will be similar to what they're going to hear. It's just a little bit shorter. All right, we'll stay on for a little bit while longer if you have any other questions, but I definitely appreciate you guys being part of our program, and thank you very much for Coach Kent. Thank you enough. All right, have a good rest of your night.